Long before Christianity, Islam, or Buddhism, humanity's first religion was the sky. Our ancestors didn't just look up for beauty, they looked up for survival. The sun told them when to plant and harvest. The stars told them when to migrate. The moon controlled the tides, animal behavior, even human fertility. And hidden in sight plain, right inside the world's sacred scriptures, is the oldest code of all, astrotheology. The belief that religious stories and symbols are built on the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. In ancient Egypt, the sun god Ra was said to sail across the heavens each day, bringing warmth, light, and life to the world. Each night, Ra would descend into the underworld, battling darkness and chaos, only to be resurrected at dawn. Now think about this. A divine being who dies every evening, journeys into darkness, and returns in glory to bring salvation to humanity. That's not far from another story you know, the story of a man called the Light of the World. Even the Christian halo is a solar image. Art historians trace it back to ancient depictions of Apollo, Helios, and other sun gods. Over the course of a year, the sun appears to move through 12 constellations, the zodiac, 12 signs, 12 stages of the solar journey. Now compare that to religion. Pisces, the fish. The earliest Christians used the fish as their secret symbol. Aquarius, the water bearer. In Luke 22:10, Jesus tells his disciples to follow a man bearing a pitcher of water. Leo, the lion. In Revelation, Christ is called the Lion of Judah. These aren't random. Ancient writers layered cosmic cycles into sacred narratives so that every festival, every parable, every prophecy synced with the heavens. Even early Christian scholars like Orion of Alexandria admitted that Scripture often spoke in allegory, not to deceive, but to hide deeper truths for those mature enough to understand them. Why is Christmas on December 25th? Because long before Christianity, that date marked the rebirth of the sun in many pagan traditions. Here's why. From June to December, the sun's arc in the sky gets lower and the days shorter. The sun dies a little more each day until the winter solstice, the darkest time of the year. For 3 days after, its path barely moves. It appears motionless, dead. Then on December 25th, it rises higher again, reborn. Romans honored Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, on that date. Mithras, Horus, and Attis were all celebrated as being born at this time. Early Christians adopted the date for the birth of Jesus, blending old solar festivals into the new faith. Even the crucifixion has cosmic roots. On the spring equinox, the sun crosses the celestial equator, the cross in the heavens. Ancient skywatchers said the sun was crucified here before moving north toward the life-giving warmth of summer. To them, this wasn't just metaphor. The sun's movement literally determined whether crops would grow, whether animals would return, whether life itself could continue. Modern scholars agree on one thing. The world's religions are full of astronomical symbolism. Where they disagree is on the extent. Some argue these cosmic patterns were layered onto the lives of real historical figures, prophets, sages, and kings. Others believe the figures themselves may have been entirely symbolic from the start, personifications of the sun and stars, told in human terms to make the cycles relatable. Either way, the evidence is everywhere. Once you know how to read the sky, the stories change. You stop seeing only miracles and start seeing calendars, farming schedules, and celestial maps written as Holy Scripture. If you want to understand the roots of religion, don't just look in the temples or the texts. Look up. The blueprint has been above us the whole time.
Once you realize that the foundations of religion come from the stars, another question appears. Who kept this knowledge alive? because history shows us something unusual. The further back we go, the clearer the sky-based myths are. But as organized religion took power, the symbols became hidden, layered under ritual and metaphor. It's as if the knowledge was deliberately veiled, only revealed to initiates. In Greece, the mystery schools of Eleusis taught initiates secret wisdom, often through rituals that used sacred plants, visions, and symbolic stories. In Egypt, priests guarded astronomical calendars that regulated agriculture and kingship itself. In Babylon, the Magi, star priests, charted planetary alignments, connecting them with prophecies. These were not religions for the masses. They were initiations into cosmic law, the idea that what happens above governs what happens below. As empires rose and fell, the torch passed into new hands. The Knights Templar were rumored to possess secret astronomical knowledge, hidden in the Temple of Solomon. The Freemasons, whose very name comes from the builders of stone, encoded cosmic allegories into architecture. Even the Gothic cathedrals of Europe are laced with zodiac imagery, solar alignments, and sacred geometry. Why? Because the Masons and initiates believed that buildings weren't just structures, they were star maps carved in stone. Think about the symbols you see everywhere. The all-seeing eye above the pyramid, the cross of Christianity, the crescent and star of Islam. These are not just random emblems. They are cosmic diagrams. The eye in the triangle, that's the sun and the pyramid of heaven. The cross, the solar equinox. The crescent and star, the moon and Venus, guiding sailors and mystics for millennia. Even the US dollar bill is covered in astrotheological imagery, a modern echo of an ancient language. So why hide it? Why not teach everyone openly that religion was born from the stars? Because knowledge is power. If you know when the Nile will flood, or when the seasons shift, or when the planets align, you control food, trade, and prophecy itself. The priests, the kings, the secret orders, they kept the cosmic calendar to themselves while giving the masses simple stories of gods and miracles. The allegory was public. The astronomy was private. Whenever open teaching of these truths surfaced, it was often crushed. Heretics were burned, libraries destroyed, orders outlawed. And yet, the knowledge never died. It went underground, into symbols, myths, and secret brotherhoods. Each generation passed it on, waiting for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. From shamans and priests to Templars and Masons, the same truth has been whispered across time. Religion is not just about Earth, it is a mirror of the heavens, and those who hold the keys to the stars hold the keys to human belief itself.
If religion began as a mirror of the stars, then the question is, who still holds that mirror today? From the Vatican's obelisk, standing like a frozen ray of the sun, to Washington, D.C.'s Capitol dome, aligned with the solstices, the fingerprints of ancient astrotheology are everywhere in our modern world. Historians note that the Catholic Church absorbed not only the rituals of Rome, but its celestial calendar. December 25th, the birthday of Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, became the day Christians celebrate Christ's birth. Easter is still calculated by the spring equinox and full moon, the same cycles pagans once used to honor fertility and rebirth. Even the Masons, inheritors of secret esoteric traditions, built entire cities according to cosmic geometry. Washington, D.C. itself is a map of the heavens, its streets forming Masonic compasses, its monuments aligned to celestial bodies. But maybe the bigger tragedy is not control. Maybe it's amnesia. We have forgotten the sky. For tens of thousands of years, humans lived under the stars. We knew their cycles like we know our phones today. The heavens told us when to plant, when to migrate, when to build, and when to pray. But in forgetting the sky, have we also forgotten ourselves? Religion was never meant to trap us. It was a cosmic language, a way of seeing humanity as part of something far larger, far older, and far more beautiful.